AEG, what it is, and also why is that the coolest job on the planet?
Basically, sports and music and entertainment.
And there's something for everyone.
In the travel industry, we start noticing this concert-related travel, live tourism.
The way that we've partnered with Trip.com on tours is offering.
If you want a real spectacular, then you have to pay for that.
The mountain of data that you have is incredible.
Because it's important for us to own that data, to understand the consumer.
For the majority of our venues, we identify different personas.
The trend we're seeing as well is how
are we booking and making sure that the experience is good for the fans that are going to the concert but also travel.
Depending on the different markets, there's slightly different criteria that the fans have.
And I know it for my own kids. I have 3 daughters, so it's very expensive.
Do you have any insight on how long does it take to plan such a thing?
There's lots of factors that go into that.
Production, the dancers, the band, the venue.
There's shopping, there's concerts, there's dining.
Grand artists like
Taylor Swift, the Rolling Stones, Justin Timberlake,
Ed Sheeran, Ariana Grande, Kendrick Lamar.
Pitbull.
Oh, wow.
And people are having a good time all around the world.
But also we're finding that
Miles and Moments.
Welcome to the Miles and Moments podcast. I'm your host, Schubert Liu, and today with me are the AEG executives that's joining us for this special episode. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thanks for having us.
Great to be here.
Let me first introduce Paul Samuels, who is the president of Global Partnership at AEG International.
Yep.
And then Matthew Zweck, VP of Asia Pacific, and he's also running the Global Partnerships too. So welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
To start off, just want to maybe tell our audience a little bit about AEG, what it is, and also why is that the coolest job on the planet?
Yeah.
Should I kick off?
Please do.
AEG is an entertainment company. We, in essence, are hardware and software. The hardware, we own venues around the world that put on some of the biggest shows and entertainment and sporting events, such as Crypto.com Arena in Los Angeles, the O2 in London. We have Uber Arena in Berlin, T-Mobile Arena in Vegas. Then we put on, we also have AEG Presents, which is our software part of our business, who put on a lot of the content. So that may be touring shows from Ed Sheeran to Taylor Swift to the Rolling Stones global tours. They also put on some of our biggest festivals. So Coachella in California, or American Express presents BST in Hyde Park, to name a few. And we also own some sports teams. We own the LA Kings ice hockey team.
You do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we own the LA Galaxy soccer team. We have the Ice Baron ice hockey team in Berlin. Mm-hmm. I'm also a percent owner of a football team in Hammarby as well in Sweden. So it's basically sports and music and entertainment, either putting the events on, putting the festivals on, or owning the venues where people play.
Fantastic. So let me then ask a follow-up question here. Now that AEG is now pulling this wizardry of having sports one night and then massive concert the other, and then maybe some massive brand event the night after, how do you manage all the different vibes and maybe figure out how to share that with the chaos that's otherwise happening?
Well, it's a well operated machine. Sometimes in some of the American sports venues, they might have ice hockey in the afternoon and basketball in the evening.
Yes.
And they manage to turn around. It's amazing to watch how quickly they turn around the venues for these activities. Or, an artist will come in and play, they will leave and be out by 2 a.m. And at 2 a.m., the new trucks will come in and bring in the new artist the next day. So it's really well organized. And it's really important for our brands that we work with that we have a host of different and variety of content. Because as a consumer, if you're trying to target a certain consumer, some of those consumers will like music, some will like sport, some will like pop, some will like classical, some will like country music. Yeah. And it's really important to have a variety of content in your venues that meets everyone's needs.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I think you've pretty much covered it. If we think about the O2 in London, there's something for everyone. There's shopping, there's concerts, there's dining, there's family entertainment, and a real mixture. So I think a number of the sites that we have, from LA Live in Los Angeles, the O2 in London, Uber in Berlin is multi-purpose sites that's purposely designed to have something for everyone and be a entertainment destination, not just a place where you'll go and watch a concert, but much, much more than that.
And it's all year round. It never stops.
Yes.
Yeah. Very amazing.
Yeah. Even at the O2, we created a tourist attraction that you can walk over the O2. It's called Up at the O2. So it's just another way of attracting customers to the wider campus.
Very cool. Very cool. So a related question would be then, what comes back to the city and the community when you have this we can do everything kind of setup?
Yeah, I think staying on the theme of the O2 in London, it creates over £300 million of economic impact for London. There are 4,500 people that are employed, and AEG will always support the communities in the cities that we do business in. So it has a huge impact to the economy within the city of London.
Yeah. Anything to add, Paul?
I mean, I was going to say the same thing. It's, we are a community hub for people that live nearby, but for employment, we are a huge employer in all the venues, in all the cities we work in. And as Matt said, the impact on the economic impact on those communities is huge.
Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about partners. Now, many people would love to join your venue and be a part of it. So how do you select partners in that process? Maybe one or two examples of a success story.
Yeah. I mean, so I guess, we always try to find the right partner for the right property that we have. For us, it's not just about putting a name on a venue. It's about how that partner is really going to develop that partnership. Bit of background about myself. I originally was an AEG partner. I worked for O2, the cell phone company in the UK. And when AEG approached me about sponsoring what was the Millennium Dome in London, and the short version is I ended up buying the sponsorship.
I think you said, no, don't talk to me.
I did say that a few times. I said
so
no a few times.
To Los Angeles and showed you the Grammy Awards at the Crypto.com Arena.
Yeah, I mean, reality was they kept saying to me, you should work with us. And I didn't know who AEG were. I thought they made fridge freezers, because there's a company called AEG that make fridge freezers in the UK. And so I basically didn't know what they were about. And also, we have to remember, 20 years ago, going to a music concert in London was very different to how it is now. We had old venues, bad acoustics, bad food, no hospitality. It wasn't the experience. Then AEG convinced me, they took me to America to show me some of the properties they had over there. And I was blown away by the experience. The consumer experience of going to a venue, going to an event was completely different than I'd seen before. And so I came back to the UK and convinced the board finally to do the deal. We changed the whole market. And that's what AEG are great at doing, is changing that market. But for O2, it's not just about putting a logo on the roof. It's great, and it's a great part of it, and it's got a media value. But actually, it's what also O2 brings to the partnership. So O2 have a pre-sale for their customers. They're one of the largest, telcos in the UK, and they can sell out arena after arena just to their customers because they created a database of people people in the UK now market know that if you want concert tickets, you should become an O2 subscriber because they have this benefit that no one else has. And you can buy a ticket before anybody else. And it really, really has changed the market. And O2 do a great job of marketing those shows. Originally, when we first did the first pre-sale, I think it was Justin Timberlake. And the O2 sold 74 tickets. Promoters were like, why should we give a pre-sale to O2? And we said, well, if you want to play our venue, you have to do that. And the reality was, over time, O2 created their database. Now, the first thing a promoter says to us is, what will O2 do for us? O2 have done TV commercials. They've done marketing, advertising, above the line, below the line. And all these things help sell tickets. They've done commercials with some of the biggest artists, including Beyonce, and they never pay an artist any fee. They say to the artist, we will pay for the marketing campaign, we will pay for the directors, the filming, etc. But then you've got to do the commercial that for free because we're going to help you sell tickets, and that's what's happened, and it's been a great success. And some of they're called walk to stage ads, and they're just brilliant. And you can see them on online, and they basically and they really work with the artists. And that's how the most important thing is understanding the artist needs, and brands that understand the music industry that it's not just about putting a logo and just really kind of tagging along. It's becoming part of the customer journey and enhancing that customer journey so that there's a reason why you're there. And that's the most important thing. And we've done research. We have a report that just came out called the AEG Global Partnerships Live Effect. And it's all about the benefits of live effects and brands. And people say that 1 in 2 people will buy from a brand they've seen at a music event, but especially if that brand has been part of that journey.
Absolutely. Yeah, that trust that actually get created.
Exactly.
It's fantastic. Now, you mentioned about data. If I can catch up to that piece of the topic, millions of people, literally millions, walk through your venues every year. And the mountain of data that you have is incredible. So how do you leverage that and maybe transform that into insights for your customer experience enhancement or making your operations smoother?
Well, we're always learning and we can always do more. One of the biggest things for us is we've created our own ticketing platform called Access because it was important for us to own that data, to understand the consumer. In the past, it used to be paper tickets. People used to come in and you would always know who the ticket buyer was, but you didn't know the 3 or 4 people that were going along as well. Now with Access, we've developed mobile ticketing. It's safer, this stops the touts, etc. But also it ensures that we get the data from everyone that comes along. So if I'm going to a concert with Matthew, I will then text him I will forward him to his app, his ticket, so it's on his phone. But by doing so, he's now downloaded the Access app, has registered with it. So we've now got his data as well. So we know more about the consumer. And the more you can understand the consumer, the more you can market and target the right personalization, which is the most important thing.
Yeah. And I think for the majority of our venues, we identify different personas. So let's say there's 6 different persona profiles that we're expecting to see at the venue that evening. Yeah. And with the digital infrastructure and digital signage, we can tailor the products that are served that evening. So if it's a heavy metal act, then maybe we'll be pushing whiskey and burgers. Or if it's Michael Bublé, it might be a more prominent for champagne or cava. So you're tailoring the products that are for sale at the venue to match the personas that we've identified in the pre-event planning of who do we think's coming. Yeah.
And we take that same messaging not only for the drinks, etc., or the food offering we're going to offer that night, but also for our partners, most importantly, they can target the audience because we have such a digital most of our venues have digital screens, etc. You can change your messaging. So if you were a car brand, if it's a Michael Bublé audience, as Matt mentioned, you may actually target a certain car. Or if it was a younger demographic, you would do a different car. Or if it was a higher demographic, you could do a different car. So it's really trying to target what the message is. And that's the most important thing is our partners, we can talk to them and say, right, tonight, this is the demographic coming in. This is the messaging that you should be targeting, which then gets a better return for the consumer.
It's a marketing engine. It's amazing that what you guys have. Fantastic. All right, I'm going to direct this question to Matthew. So I keep hearing this headline saying, now Gen Zs will rather fly across the world for a one-night concert than taking a normal vacation.
Yeah.
Right. Is that really happening in real life? And where are you seeing?
Yes, we're seeing. I mean, Paul was just talking about Ariana Grande, who's coming to the O2 and will play 10 shows there and nowhere else regionally. So people would have to travel to go and see that particular show. But we've seen over the last couple of years with big tours like Taylor Swift that the fan is going there very early. The fan is booking travel and meeting new people. So using the travel to instantly connect with strangers. And at live events, we see people more open to connecting with other people and making friends and making connections with that shared passion, which is the artist that's playing that evening. So are Gen Z as excited by, destination concert travel as holidays? Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great to see. I'm now seeing governments fighting over artists, right? You mentioned about Taylor Swift, the Taylor Swift event in Singapore.
Yes.
That's an example of it.
Yes. Exactly. And that was, in that show, she was playing one destination.
6 nights in Singapore.
And people traveled to Singapore to watch her. Yeah. And we're seeing more, as Matt said, Ariana Grande coming to the O2, the only show she's doing outside of the US. Wow. So we will see a huge amount of travel, of people wanting to come and to create and working with people like Trip com to be able to kind of, to make a package for people, make it easy for them.
Yeah.
That's, we could do a lot more to make the experience even better.
Yeah. And you're right. We happened to be in Thailand. We were opening our venue UOB Live with Ed Sheeran the day or two that the story came out about how Singapore secured those shows. And we're really excited to be building a new 18,000 capacity venue in Bangkok, which we believe will help grow the live entertainment market in Bangkok, because currently there isn't the infrastructure available for high capacity indoor concerts with that premium experience that Paul's mentioned at the O2 and
Crypto.com Arena.
So the artists don't want to go to Bangkok because the facilities aren't there. Yeah. But if you create the best arena in the world at probably I think Bangkok's one of the biggest tourist destinations in the world. You're basically putting the two together. You're creating a huge new market opportunity.
Yeah, fantastic. So let's talk a little bit about collaboration, like a day-to-day. So for your team and a travel company like us, how are we connecting together, and how are we booking and making sure that the experience is good for the fans that are going to the concert but also traveling?
Yeah. I think that, depending on the different markets, there's slightly different criteria that the fans have. We see in Europe and particularly UK, the booking is much, much earlier than it would be in Asia Pacific and other elements that are attractive to people attending concerts in Asian markets, slightly different to Europe. So I think the way that we've partnered with Trip.com on tours like G-Dragon is offering packages that are affordable and reasonably priced, and help have that, the full customer journey and customer support is available throughout that process.
That's very important, to have the right user experience and making sure they're getting the right service.
Yes.
Yeah. And as we see, as Matt says, every market's different, and particularly in Europe and particularly the UK, people are booking tickets, a year in advance, and they're very excited about that moment, and they are basically thinking there and then about how they're going to create that experience. And it's really, really important that we make it easy for them. The challenge we have, if I take our festival in Hyde Park, as soon as we announce the shows that are out there, if you try and get a hotel room in Hyde Park, which is where some of the big hotels are in London, the prices are 3 times the amount. Because they're seeing the opportunity, quite understandably. So working with a travel partner that can help with the planning, book hotels in advance to keep those prices reasonable, it'll be better for the end consumer at the end of the day.
Yeah. And payment acceptance, we know that Trip.com accept payment from a variety of different payment methods, which is also very appealing to people buying tickets for destination event attendance.
Covering audience around the world.
Yes.
That's also very important.
Yeah.
Now, in the travel industry, we start noticing this concert-related travel starting in, I would say, right after COVID, so 2023-ish. Right, that's where the booms start happening. We're now coining it, live tourism.
Live tourism.
Yeah, people are just going places because they're live events.
Yeah.
Now, do you see any sort of new habits or user behaviors that's triggering you to adjust your venues or events to meet their needs?
The biggest change we've seen since post-COVID was actually the requirement for more premium tickets. In the old days before COVID, premium was always seen as maybe corporate hospitality, where people were for business use, etc. That has completely changed now. We're saying actually more people that when they're going to buy a ticket actually want to spend a bit more money on a more premium ticket that might include some food, might include faster access or parking or merch included, etc., or a better seat. And it's come from nowhere. And people are willing to spend that extra money for that purpose. We're changing our premium offerings now in all our venues, moving away from the normal corporate 24-seater box that would have been to more entertainment areas where there's lots of people sharing premium spaces in a different way. We just opened a new space at the O2 called the 93rd by Qatar Airways, which basically for us drives more revenue from selling the tickets, but it's a completely different experience for the consumer than going to and some of those people that go are still the corporate audience and people will buy tickets, but there's lots of people that are buying event by event who are just going to the show and want a better experience than a standard seat.
Yeah, people are just looking for a good time. They want to spend their money where it's worth it. So.
Yeah, we've seen that. I think statistically, people go to 2.3 shows per year. You know, it's the day of the year or the night of the year that they might take a half day off work. They'll be with their friends. They'll have some money in their pocket, and it's going to create memories that it's their act who hasn't toured for 2 or 3 years. So yeah, it's a very special thing going to a live entertainment experience. And when you say that, what's so good about working for AEG, I think that's it. You know, our company motto is giving the world reason to cheer, and I think that's a lovely thing to be a part of.
And the research I mentioned earlier basically shows that what things people are willing to give up. And, you know, they won't give up holidays and they won't give up going to concerts, but they will give up other things in their lives. But they won't give up. Right at the top of the list is holidays and concerts, because they need that experience. They need that breakaway from their normal life to continue that, which is great music to our ears, because that's the business we're in.
Fantastic. So among all the audience around the world, right, are there any real difference between a 25-year-old from Seoul or Berlin or LA? If so, you know, how are you guys making the changes that's needed to make sure they're covered?
I think that, the core needs of fans is the same. Mm-hmm. Obviously, they react differently. It's amazing. I remember seeing Taylor Swift in Japan, and it was a great experience. But the thing that got me the most was right at the end, everyone stayed in their seats, and then walked out in rows. It was like being at school. Everyone was very organised. Where you go to a show in the O2, there's a fight to get out afterwards, and it's a different way of people experiencing it. However, when they're watching the show and the passion is exactly the same. And, you know, people want, and the other thing, the trend we're seeing as well is how, and it came out in our report, when people are going to see a show, is they want to feel part of a community. And they want to, and then people are now dressing up to feel like that community. So, for instance, there's an artist called Pitbull. You know, when he plays at our venues, nearly 80% of the venue are wearing like a bald wig. And black
80%?
ties. Black ties. It's a business to be in, is creating all these wigs. And people want to be and feel part of the community. And the same happened with, I've forgotten the artist's name now, but people will dress. And I know it from my own kids. I have 3 daughters, so it's very expensive. But when they go to see a show, they want to, you know, the first thing it says, I need an outfit because, and I'm like, you know, being the dad going, you're not wearing that. And then I take them to the show and I realize that everyone's wearing the same thing. So I think that's the crazy thing. People want to feel part of a community while they go to the show. Mm-hmm. And that is a part of how they dress, what they do before and after a show. And I think that's the same around the world.
Yeah, there's definitely some consistencies in fan behavior depending on the genre of artist that's playing. But then there are also certain restrictions that may exist at Mercedes-Benz Arena in Shanghai that don't exist in other areas. And that can impact the fan behavior within the arena. But no, people are having a good time all around the world, I think.
Absolutely. Fantastic. All right. So Lifetime's tour happening 3 nights in Shanghai. What I heard is Katy Perry Lifetime's tour. It was initially scheduled for 2 nights. Is that right? And then additional night was added because of the demand?
I'm not close to the how the 3 shows came actually. Do you know, Paul? I don't know if we started with 2 and went with 3, but it was sold out in seconds.
So that would make sense, because when a show sells so quickly, you know, be able to add an additional show. I mean, the hard costs of bringing an artist to a country are there. You know, you've paid to get the artists there, you've paid for their trucks and all their equipment. So if you are able to add additional show, it's a great opportunity for the artists.
And it's great to kick off the 15-year celebrations of the Mercedes-Benz Arena. So Katy Perry performing those 3 shows now starts a series of celebrations for the arena over the next year.
That's fantastic.
But yeah, it was a great event. Colleagues in the room here have told us. So yeah, shame to miss it. I think she was in Japan last night.
Yes, in Tokyo, I think.
Yes, yeah. And
then the roadshow continues until what, July of next year, something to that extent?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Very cool. Help us understand a bit of, you know, with grand artists like and Katy Perry, how do they select these locations or cities or venues? What's their thought process in that?
Well, the thought process is, working with agents, etc., who help book the shows, ensuring, what the audience is there, that they would look at people that download their music, and trying to work out the best way and how many nights they can do in a market. And sometimes it's a risk. A promoter's job is to plan this with the agent, and a promoter is a risk taker. And 90% of the time, it works really well and they get it right. 10% of the time, it doesn't work so well, and it's very costly because you're still paying the artists. And if you don't sell those tickets, you've got a problem in your hands. So a lot of research, but most of it comes down to the point you made earlier about data. Yes, we have to analyze the data we have, and that could be from record sales, previous shows, fan bases, fan clubs,
streams.
Yeah, all these streams, exactly. All these things help build a profile up and to make those decisions.
Yeah, where the fan base is and where you can sell tickets.
Matt's dad's an agent, so Matt can probably...
Look, there's lots of factors that go into that. From an AEG point of view, we took Ed Sheeran to India earlier this year, so it's quite a new thing for us. And he played 7 shows in 6 different cities around India, which was great. And I know that particular artist was very keen to play there. Yeah.
But then there's also challenges in each market because, putting a show on is really expensive. People say to me, why are tickets so expensive? Well, reality is the cost of putting that show on, that production, the dancers, the band, paying the venues, it's not a cheap process. So really the cost of the price of the ticket is because if you want a real spectacular, then you have to pay for that. But taking someone like Ed Sheeran to India, you couldn't justify you couldn't justify the cost of the ticket. People wouldn't be able to pay the cost of a ticket. So we had to work with sponsors to help subsidize the cost. And Matt did a great job getting sponsors in the market to make the price of the ticket much cheaper. So the Indian community could actually, decide to pay those prices, because the places that we were going wasn't just the Mumbai and the capitals; it was Pune, going to smaller Hyderabad cities as well.
Yeah. And having that affordable ticket price is very important.
Yeah, it's great for the community that they get the entertainment they need.
Yeah,
exactly. Fantastic. Yeah. One last bit of question, I'm just always curious. For all these world tours by artists and so forth, is there any sort of science or art on where did they start and where they sort of end the tour?
Yeah. It's truth, actually. So it all comes down to availability of venues. And a lot of those availabilities, they want to play certain venues. So the O2 in London is a must play for most artists because it's actually #1 music venue in the world. It does, this year, it's done 237 shows. Because we don't have a sports team there, you've got more available dates, so it enables more shows to come. And so a lot of artists want to play the O2, for example, in London. So they have to check availability of when they can get in. And from that, they'll be able to book a world tour. And there's other venues around the world they also want to play as must-plays cities. So it's really trying to find, it's real complicated. If you're ever planning you work for trip.com, so you plan lots of holidays. But reality is, it's like planning a vacation. It's about making sure that you have the best route possible, because there's no point of going from here, from UK all the way to America and then back to Europe, because that's not economic to do that. So it's finding the best route, ensuring that you can go to those key markets on the route and fit in. And it's a very, very complicated process when, we have artists saying, I want to play the O2 on this night, and it's already got booked, and our booking team will try and work with all the agents, etc., move things around to fit everyone in and keep everyone happy.
Yeah. And that's a challenging job, I think, for the live booking agent, where they're mapping out, the distance for a truck to take the touring gear from, Denmark to Sweden over a certain number of hours, and the drivers have only got a certain number of hours. And, when the tours are particularly large, they'll have the stage set up twice. So they'll have two stage sets. So one will be setting up here. There's already the second set of staging going to the next venue on some of the bigger tours. So there'll be 20 trucks here and 20 trucks ahead. So because of if it takes more time to build, so it's ready.
Yeah. Do you have any insight on how long does it take to plan such a thing? Any sort of world tour?
I think every artist's creative process is different. I think when they want to go on tour. No, I think that we've had tours that have been in the planning for years, and then others that just come and quickly take off. So I don't think there's a exact science to how long it would take.
And the other trend, actually, we're talking about all these huge artists from the Rolling Stones to Ed Sheeran to Taylor Swift, but also we're finding that because of social media and how the world's changed, there's so many artists filling out arenas that people like you and I probably even didn't hear about these people 6 months ago. These are artists that have just blown up from nowhere, and they're able to sell out arenas. We've had 50 artists this year selling out the O2 Arena for the first time, who wouldn't have actually sold arenas before, and they are basically coming around. And these artists are short lead times because they're blowing up. Promoter wants to get them out while they're still hot, and get them out quickly. So we're seeing a lot of that at the moment. And again, I talk about my kids again, but reality is it's often artists that I've not heard of, and my kids go, I have to see this person. They're playing at the O2, and I'm like, who? Yeah. And they find out they've sold out. And also, it's not just about artists. There's podcasts. I mean, you could be doing arena shows. Podcasts have sold out arenas now.
Podcast arenas?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of them. There's been a couple at the O2 recently, a political one, but also one that I did go and watch it, and I couldn't believe what I was watching because it was terrible. But the reality was there was 18,000 people having a great time watching this podcast, because they made it fun, and it wasn't just a podcast. They were doing interviews and silly things on stage. It was just an extension of what a podcast would be. So the world's changing completely. And the likes of the Rolling Stones and the Ed Sheerans of the world are competing for dates in venues with podcasts now that can sell out arenas as well.
It's nice you can discover new music and new events through your children. My children are at Kendrick Lamar tonight in Melbourne with my wife, so not that that's discovering new music. It's a fantastic Super Bowl performance.
But the AEG model is not just about arenas as well. We have venues of different sizes. So we have venues that start from 2,000 or 1,000 capacity all the way up to 20,000 seat arenas. We want to work with artists on the start of their career, moving all the way up. It's down to the promoters to decide, is an artist ready to take the leap from a 4,000 seat venue to a 20,000 seat venue, or are they better doing 2 nights at 4,000 seat arena and making that gamble and that decision? And so we have a host of venues of different sizes to meet all the different needs. As I say, it's artists on the way up, artists also when they're on their way down, but also artists that wanted to kind of do that, that small, intimate gig. I mean, we had Prince play when at the O2. He did 21 nights. And for 18 of them, he did an after party in one of our smaller venues, and he went on to 3 o'clock in the morning doing just jamming along. So
3 in the morning.
Yeah, it was a real party atmosphere, and it was the must-have ticket was trying to go to the after party where he performed, on stage.
Yeah, it's amazing to see how you guys have such a big infrastructure, all the different type of venues, and the data that backs it up, so you know what to select and when to make it happen.
Exactly.
Yeah. This is definitely the coolest job in the world.
You know what?
I'm happy. I've worked for him for 15 years.
Can't get rid of him. But reality is, we're very lucky. We're very fortunate to work in something we're very passionate about, which is very important. It's a fun environment. It's tough. It's hard out there. But reality is, we enjoy our day jobs, and that's what makes it fun.
Yeah. Everybody should be passionate about their job. And that's very important. Thank you, gentlemen. I would like to close the podcast by asking both of you a question, which is, being the Miles and Moments podcast, would love to hear from you. Where would be one location or destination you would love to go, or you've been that you really enjoyed?
Yeah. I'm happy to share. I mean, I'd moved to Melbourne from London 3 years ago, and I'm really enjoying exploring everything that Australia has to offer. But growing up, my family and I an extended family would go to a place called Vasiliki in Greece, in Lefkas. It's a high wind resort. I love windsurfing, and we just had some special moments windsurfing, me, my father, brother, on the Mediterranean Sea. It's lovely, lush, green Ionian islands. It's beautiful. So Vasiliki in Lefkas, beautiful fishing village.
Okay, we'll definitely look that one up.
It's
I
wonderful.
haven't heard of it. Paul?
And for me, we love going to Thailand. As a family, we've been several times. It's, I went there for my honeymoon for the first time, and then we went there for my 40th with my kids, and then been back a couple of times since. And it's just we just love that part of the world, and the children really enjoy it. And it's a great way because I think you can have a venture. Yes, you can have a few days by the beach and sunbathing, but there's so much other things to do as well, and explore. And it really feels for me when you're, leaving Europe, go somewhere that's completely different to Europe, and it really makes a difference. So I live for vacations.
Yeah. Can I add another one? We're trying to plan a 10-day camper van around New Zealand in Easter next year. So I haven't got the days off.
Which island are you talking about?
Not sure yet. We should, do some more research.
Yeah.
But
I'm not sure that holiday is approved. I think you need to. There'll be a few meetings you need to be at.
Very exciting. Thank you, gentlemen. Really appreciate your time joining us today, and thank you for all your thoughts and sharing.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
It's great to be here. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Miles and Moments.